Chock looked around, his brow furrowing. "You okay? You seem off." Joan took a deep breath. Now or never. "I need to know where we're going, Chock," she said, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "I can't keep wondering if I'm just someone you see when it's convenient, or if you actually see a future with me." He leaned back, clearly caught off guard. "Joan, we've only been out of the bubble for a couple months. Things take time. I'm not asking for a wedding date tomorrow," she cut in, "but I am asking for clarity. We're not 20 anymore. I don't have the patience for another year of Mabes." Her words hung in the air like heavy fog. Chock rubbed the back of his neck, avoiding her eyes. "It's not that I don't care about you." "That's not enough," Joan said, her voice breaking just slightly. "I spent too many years accepting crumbs because I was afraid of being alone. I promised myself I wouldn't do that again. I need a partner who's all in, or I need to walk away now before this gets harder." Silence. Joan could hear the faint hum of traffic outside, the clink of silverware from the hotel restaurant below. Chock was staring at the floor like it might have answers he couldn't find in his own head. Finally, he looked up. "You're asking me to choose right now, today." "I'm asking you to be honest with me," she said. "If you're not ready, if you're unsure, tell me. But I won't keep putting my heart into something that's only halfway there." His jaw tightened. She could see the conflict flickering behind his eyes, the pull between comfort and commitment, between safety and the leap of faith she was asking for. After what felt like an eternity, Chock stood. "I care about you more than I can put into words, Joan. But I don't want to make promises I'm not ready to keep. I think I need more time." Her stomach sank, even though part of her had been expecting it. She nodded slowly, her throat tightening. "Then I think we need to take a step back." Chock hesitated, as if he might protest, but then he simply nodded. "I don't want to lose you," he said quietly. "Then show me that," Joan replied. "When you're ready, and if you really mean it, you'll know where to find me." With that, she opened the door. He lingered for a moment, searching her face for a crack in her resolve, but there wasn't one. Eventually, he stepped into the hallway, his footsteps fading until she could no longer hear them. When Joan closed the door, she leaned against it, her breath trembling in her chest. It wasn't the ending she'd hoped for, but it was the boundary she needed to set. She walked back into the garden, the evening sun casting golden light over the flowers. For the first time in weeks, she felt something close to peace. It wasn't because she had the answer she wanted, but because she'd chosen herself. She knew that love, the real kind, the forever kind, couldn't be coaxed from uncertainty. It had to stand on its own, firm and steady, without the constant fear of it crumbling. Maybe Chock would realize what he had and come back. Maybe he wouldn't. Either way, Joan was certain of one thing. She wasn't going to shrink herself to fit into someone else's hesitation. She picked up her coffee again, now cold but somehow comforting in her hands. Somewhere deep down, she believed that this moment, as terrifying and raw as it felt, was not an ending at all, but the start of something better. Something truer. The anxiety that had gripped her all morning began to loosen its hold, replaced by the quiet strength she had always carried inside. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Joan Vassos, filled with anxiety, gives Chock Chapple Ultimatum. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos has been spending a lot of time with her final rose winner and fiancé Chock Chapple. They spent the holidays at Joan's home in Maryland. Now they made their way to Kansas so she could spend some time in his world. While there, she went to social media to share that she was filled with anxiety. In fact, she said she was going to be giving Chock an ultimatum. What happened? Keep reading to find out all the details. Chapple is giving Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos anxiety. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos went to Instagram to share a video detailing all the recent anxiety Chapple has her feeling. While spending time in Wichita, Kansas, Joan discovered that Chock has a serious problem she was not aware of. Apparently, Chock is a sock hoarder. Joan showed a video of all the mismatched socks that Chock owns, which are all in tubs in his room. She went on to show the containers of socks and said they were all mismatched, and it was giving her severe anxiety. Joan was starting to sort the socks by color and had them lined up on the dresser and even going down the hallway. There were stacks and stacks of socks. She captioned her video saying, "The tale of Chock socks. Hashtag the Golden Bachelorette. Hashtag engaged life." As Joan showed fans and talked about the many socks he owns, she said again how much anxiety it was causing her. She said she really thinks she needs to tell Chock that it's either her or the socks. Joan concluded the video saying she will let fans know what he says about her ultimatum. Later, she showed a photo of the bed piled high with matched-up socks. She captioned the picture saying, "Finish matching all 346 pairs of socks." Bachelor Nation loved the video and shared thoughts. Joan Vassos' video got a lot of attention from fellow Bachelor alums and also fans. Here are some of their hilarious comments. Joan Vassos had never been one to let her nerves get the better of her. She'd raised a family, built a career, and navigated the loss of her husband with grace. But standing in the small patio garden outside her Los Angeles hotel suite, clutching a lukewarm cup of coffee she couldn't bring herself to drink, she felt a wave of anxiety so intense it made her fingertips tingle. It was supposed to be the happiest time of her life. America had fallen in love with her on the Golden Bachelorette. Her warm laugh, her quiet strength, her heartfelt vulnerability. But the cameras had stopped rolling weeks ago, and now she and Chapple were left to figure out if the fairy tale connection they'd built under twinkle lights and rose ceremonies could survive the harsh glare of real life. Lately, Joan wasn't so sure. She set the coffee down, pacing the length of the garden. Her heart was a restless drum in her chest, each beat echoing the same question: why does it feel like he's pulling away? In the beginning, Chock had been endlessly attentive. Every text message from him felt like a love letter, every date night a grand adventure. But now she'd noticed the gaps, the calls that went to voicemail, the dates postponed because of last-minute work issues, the vague answers when she asked where things were heading. She had given him the benefit of the doubt. After all, they were both in their 60s. They'd lived entire lives before meeting each other. It wasn't like the whirlwind romances of their younger days. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was holding on to something that might already be slipping through her fingers. That morning, she'd finally made a decision. When Chock arrived later that afternoon, she was going to give him an ultimatum. Not because she wanted to force his hand, but because she couldn't keep floating in this gray space between love and uncertainty. By the time Chock knocked on her door, Joan had rehearsed the conversation in her head at least 20 times. He walked in, wearing that easy smile she had fallen for, the faint scent of cedarwood cologne clinging to his jacket. "Hey, gorgeous," he said, leaning in to kiss her cheek. But she could tell from the faint stiffness in his voice that he sensed the tension in the air. "Hi," she replied softly, motioning for him to sit. She stayed standing, the distance between them feeling like a chasm she wasn't sure either of them could cross.